everyone, welcome back to Let's Play Great Ace Attorney 2, Naruhodo's Resolve. This is V-Diffuser in our last episode. We got through our second court case so far, and we have proven that Sosuke Natsume may not have actually poisoned Shamspeare, and that he is a dirty, filthy, gas-stealing liar. We made it back in one piece. Just, to be perfectly honest, I thought we were finished there for a while. Oh, I know. What a lot of close shaves. There's so many carriages on the street of London. You were very nearly flattened several times. Oh no, I didn't mean that. Yes, I know. It was a marvelous defense, Naruhodo-san. Really was. I was in awe of you. Oh, thank you. And now that your fervent exploits have won us some more precious investigation time, let's see if we can find some new clues for court tomorrow. Let's do that. Is everything alright? I suppose. I just still can't quite believe it. That's all. That I'm here in England working as a lawyer, I mean. In the Old Bailey, no less. The truth is, it shouldn't be me, should it? It should be him standing in my shoes. It should be Kazuma. It was Kazuma-sama's wish that you follow into Great Britain and work alongside him. I mean, I never had the chance to ask him exactly why, but he clearly had a plan. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him. And you're doing wonderfully, Naruhodo-san. I've no doubt that Kazuma-sama would say exactly the same thing if he were here with us. Thank you, Susato-san. Thank you. Perhaps we should put this spade away somewhere. It's not a spade, it's a shovel. It's a step-ladder and ladder argument. No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade. No, spades are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a shovel. Well, it doesn't really matter, does it? You're so right, Naruhodo-san. We mustn't quarrel over such trifles. I think that's for the best. We may need a shovel when we're working in the garden. It was quite a shock earlier today, wasn't it? When the victim himself turned up in court and took the stand. I know. Not only that, but finding out he actually is a bare-faced gas thief as well. That was certainly a surprise to us all. For a while it seemed as though everyone had quite forgotten about Sosuke-san poisoning the tea. Careful of your phrasing, Susato-san, he didn't poison anything. And there's more to this Shamspeare than we yet know, I'm sure of it. Mr. Shamspeare certainly wasn't the noble, upstanding man everyone thought he was at first. What's become of him, actually? I was told he'd be returning to the hospital ward when he was receiving treatment. Which one is that? Let me see, he's at St. Bartholomew's, or Bart's as Londoners called it. Well, we know that place, don't we? We visited Miss Green there yesterday. It's the same hospital which she was taken. After he stabbed her. Careful of your phrasing, Naruhodo-san. He didn't stab anyone. Perhaps we both owe Sosuke-san an apology. We should probably visit the hospital later. So we know that Sosuke-san took tea to the victim on the night in question. But as he isn't the culprit, then obviously, The poison wasn't in the tea. But if that's the case, how on earth did the poison get into Mr. Shamspeare's body? I'm sure we'll find a clue at the scene. There must be something in Mr. Shamspeare's room that will solve the mystery. Well, naturally, Scotland Yard detectives have been over that place already. But it couldn't hurt for us to have another look around, I think. Definitely. And I'm desperate to know the outcome of the investigation into the tea theft in the bar and left in the bar of soap. Well, if we run into Inspector Gregson, we could ask him about that. Cosmo Sogi, the best friend I ever had, and a lawyer with such promise. He really saved my bacon in that horrible incident just before we left Japan. I can still picture him now, looking so fierce and determined in court. And then after the trial, the crazy idea he came up with. As a stowaway? Yes, you can fit inside my trunk if you curl up small enough, I'm sure. No one will know. Won't you tell me why? Why go to these lengths that I can accompany you to Great Britain? Well, it's been on my mind ever since we got through that trial. But you really ought to get him into law, as be a defense lawyer. You've got a natural talent for it. Believe me, I guarantee it. But I never even thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, I can't force you, obviously. You'll have to decide for yourself. But anyway, London's the cultural capital of the world, at the moment. The city at the forefront of everything. It can't hurt for you to see it with your own eyes. That's true. I suppose, though, if you were to become a lawyer, then one day what? Oh no. Never mind. You're hiding something. Naruhodo-san? Oh, sorry. I was just thinking about Kazuma. Yes, he's forever in my thoughts, too. To change the Japanese judicial system for the better. That was his dream. And that's why he so desperately wanted to come to Great Britain to study, of course. But I do wonder if his true intentions lay elsewhere sometimes. I don't know. The thought just takes hold of me every now and then. That's all. What do you mean by Kazuma-sama's true intentions? I mean this. His katana. I never expected to inherit this sword after Kazuma passed away, of course. No, I know. It was because I asked you to take it. When I have it at my side in court, I feel as though it gives me courage. Actually, the night before he died, he told me a little about the sword. Karma? That's right. It's a prized sword that's been passed down from generations of the Asogi clan. A Japanese man's sword is his soul, Ryunosuke. I can't be parted from my katana. Karma guides me. I believe that. So its name compels its wielder to slice evil in two? Not that you would need much compelling. On that subject, there's something very important I have to do in Great Britain. Something you have to do. Yes. I'd appreciate you seeing it through with me. Of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through to the end with you. I knew you wouldn't let me down. What did he mean by something very important that I have to do? I'd hoped the answer to that question would come apparent when we arrived here, but as yet I've not found a single clue. I see. Alright, let's go to Sholmes' suite. Oh, Runo, it's Susie. Hooray, you're back. Hello, Iris. You're in fine spirits as always, I see. I am, and you look as immaculately presented as ever, Susie. Oh, you flatter me. Well, you couldn't have come at a better time. I just made a pot of tea. I'll set some cups. Thanks, Iris. Actually, what is that foul smell? Aha! The Wanderer's return at last. What out of the pair have you been? We've been in court. Oh, for Mr. Mustache's case. That was today, wasn't it? I'm sure I mentioned it only yesterday, Mr. Sholmes. I'm sure you think you did. Well, we can laugh about it now. So tell me, how did the trial go? Reasonably well so far. We managed to escape without a guilty verdict, at least. Really? I would have liked to see it. And I must pass the time of day with Mr. Reaper again. It's been too long. Is Lord Van Zeeks an acquaintance, Mr. Sholmes? Naturally! There's not a person in the world who doesn't know my name, Mr. Naruhodo. Not quite what I asked, but still. Mr. Sholmes, whatever is that odor? Yes, what is it? It's faint, but absolutely awful. Ah, indeed. That's the scent of victory, my dear fellows. Victory in science. Oh dear. Alright, I'll bite. What's he up to now? What have you got over here? It always strikes me how pretty and neatly arranged this tea set is. It's my favorite one. I think it's high time for afternoon tea. Oh, Iris, you do love your tea, don't you? Just what is she about to make me drink? This is where you note down ideas. Buck up, Bruno. What's this? Oh, I'm just playing around with ideas for the title of next month's installment. Another idea was the barrel coronet. I'm really torn about which one to use. What do you think, Bruno? Anything but buck up, Bruno, obviously. I suppose you're right. I tell you what, I'll surprise you with it. You'll have to wait until next month and see. Ugh, so many sleepless nights. Lord Van Zeeks. Yes, it is an interesting sobriquet he has, isn't it? The Reaper of the Bailey. Once the legendary prosecutors fought for someone's conviction, that person's doomed. Even if he or she is found not guilty by the courts. Or later the hapless soul will vanish from the capital. But vanish how exactly? By failing under a passing carriage, or drowning in the Thames, or succumbing to a sudden fever, or quite out of the blue, being set upon by a highwayman. There are numerous routes to one's final terminus, my dear fellow. It all seems a little far-fetched, really. Well, on the bright side, Mr. Mustache is fighting fit. For the time being, at least. That's not overtly reassuring. If the rumors are true, though, the obvious conclusion would surely be that those acquitted are, well, by Lord Van Zeek's own hand. As it happens, Miss Susato, that is quite impossible. Why? Naturally, the man very quickly came into such suspicion. However, whenever these incidents occurred, the Reaper had always had a cast-iron alibi. Really? And so his reign continued, but 5 years ago, he vanished from the courts, never to appear as a prosecutor again. That is, until you arrived in the country, Mr. Naruhodo. Yeah, so I've heard. In fact, it was the very day I arrived, when I was thrust into that trial in the Old Bailey. That bitter fight to the death coincided with the Reaper's resurrection. And really did end bitterly indeed. And here you are, facing Mr. Reaper again. Oh, Bruno, I don't know if you're just incredibly unlucky. Or incredibly unlikable. I think it goes deeper than just me. I sense a general loathing. Of all Japanese people. It's not uncommon in this era. So, what is that indescribably foul smell? Ah, well, most probably I would say this. My dear fellow, it is, of course, my latest invention. A chemical test that can identify whether or not a tea is a genuine at the drop of some tea. Oh my! There are some unscrupulous sorts manning the stalls along some of London's less frequented streets. They frequently sell what purports to be high-quality tea, but is merely, in fact, dyed leaves or drab flavor. Well, that's certainly unsavory behavior. So when one is presented with what appears to be black tea, one must be careful. Iris! At the righty, Hurley. I just had a drop of my chemical to this cup of tea here. You see what happens? It turned completely black. And what a foul odor it's given off. Indeed, the blacker the tea becomes, the more foul the odor, the better the tea is. It would appear that this cup was a particularly fine Darjeeling. That's very ingenious, but what do you do with that black liquid now? Why, dispose of it naturally. Surely you wouldn't like to drink it, would you? There does seem to be a rather obvious problem with your new invention, Mr. Sholmes. Hence why this chemical test is merely a test, my dear madam. Right. The point is, we are entering a new era of science. In the world of criminal investigation, also. Forensic science. Oh, these are such exciting times. I regularly engage in this scientific experimentation alongside my unofficial consulting detective work. The Sherlock Holmes method will be the foundation upon which modern investigative technique is based. This little tea indicant was a happy byproduct of my ongoing forensic science research. Forensic science. I suppose I should find more about that. With Natsume, who I'm currently defending, being Japanese as well as Susato and myself, I felt it even more keenly in court today. For some reason, Lord Van Zeek seems to have an inherent disdain of the Japanese. Indeed, it is an interesting observation. Do you know something about it? Do you, Mr. Sholmes? It was about 10 years ago that Barak Van Zeek chose to enter the legal profession. However, before that time, the young man's closest companion hailed from the Empire of Japan. No! What the? Tell us more, Mr. Sholmes. What happened? I believe I've made it clear before. I'm unable to tell you anything about the affair. Oh, but... It's classified, isn't it? The veil will be lifted on the events of the past in due course, I've no doubt. For now, however, it is Mr. Mustache who is most deserving of your attention, I believe. So your T-test is an example of forensic science. Indeed it is. An essential tool in cases that hinge on the knowledge of whether some tea is high or inferior quality. Not a huge number of cases, then. Perhaps a more practical example is required. Fingerprints? Not yet accepted in our court as evidence, I might add. Really, we are dragging our heels here. I hadn't even heard of them until recently. Which is partly why I undertake research in this field myself, of course. Does that mean you're studying fingerprints, Mr. Sholmes? There are others in that field already, and I abhor the company of inferior minds. No, what I'm researching is skin prints. Skin prints? A nomenclature of my own design. As this chemical agent, that makes it possible. It instantly reveals objects touched by whatever person is under investigation. As long as it doesn't turn everything completely odorous and black. I assure you, my dear fellows, you will witness my forensic talents in action very soon indeed. think we should go back to the scene and see if we can uncover any new clues. That's the spirit room now. See you later. Yes, until later. No, Mr. Sholmes, we were thinking you'd come with us. You were? Yes, of course. You just said a moment ago we'd witness your forensic talents in action. Ah, yes, I do recall seeing something along those lines. But you go on ahead. I'll be sure to follow you later, in all likelihood. Probably. Maybe. Well, I might. And there went the music. Your commitment astounds me. Well, thank you, Mr. Sholmes. We'll eagerly await your arrival. Bye, Bruno. Bye, Susie. Alrighty. Time to shove off. Oh, hello again, Inspector Gregson. What are you doing here? Well, we were hoping to have another look around, actually. The lawyer representing the defendant has a right to examine the scene, I'm sure you're aware. Yeah, I know this score. Oh yes, one other thing. The soap on the ledge outside the window. Did you find it? With the tea in it? Yeah, we found it all right, and there was a small amount of tea in it, as you said. I knew it. It was with the identification section at the Scotland Yard now. They're looking into it. The results should be available later today. That's wonderful news. Thank you. Very impressive performance in court this morning. Sorry? Nothing. Forget it. Just make sure you don't disturb anything in here. Alright, what can we examine here? Oh, there he is. Mr. Sholmes, what are you up to over there? What a question indeed. Was it not your good self? Who would asked me to attend the scene? Oi! What are you doing here, Sholmes? What are you up to over there? What are you doing here? Dear me, once a great detective, one is always under scrutiny, it seems. Now is the time, Mr. Sholmes? Are you about to show us your forensic talents in action as you promised? With the greatest of pleasure, my dear madam. What's all this? All this is precisely what you requested, Mr. Naruhodo. Mr. Sholmes' sensational skin print seeker gun. Moments ago I took a sample from the teacup that was used by the victim. A sample from Mr. Shamspeare's cup? Each individual leaves microscopic secretions on everything he or she touches. A sample of those secretions is all I need to produce this, a refined indicator solution. By liberally spraying the room with this chemical, everything the victim touched is instantly revealed with the aid of these goggles. Try them on! There, now spray the chemical indicator about, and all will be revealed. A little press of the A on the area you're interested in is all that's required. Like this! Yep, those are fingerprints, alright. Alright. As you do. Go ahead, try it, my dear fellow. Well, nothing to lose. Holy cow, there are dozens of handprints over there. A great many indeed. So much that it's hard to make out any one individual print, in fact. It sends a chill down my spine. Perhaps he was leaning against the wall while he admired this picture. Unlikely, I would say. It's a rather dull scene after all. And without wishing to state the obvious, you wouldn't generally admire a picture from such close quarters, I feel. Alright, to the right of the table. Oh, look at all this here. A multitude of the victim's handprints. Why are there so many of them on the floor in this one spot? Perhaps he had a bad fall just here. There's nothing obvious that he would have tripped over, though, is there? I wonder. Personally, I often stumble when there's nothing obvious to trip over. Yeah. Handprints all over the floor. There's no obvious explanation. Well, we've sprayed Mr. Sholmes' amazing skin print indicator all over the room. But there are two places in particular that have interest. Right there. And right there. And the floor looks like it's being dug up. What is it? Look here. On the floor, one of the floorboards has popped out. It's a secret hiding place. Excellent work, Miss Susato. So what do we have in here? Oi! What are you all doing? Inspector Gregson, stand aside right this minute. It's my job to investigate there. No need, Inspector. You continue to dig in your portion of chips while we dig around under the floor here. That fancy talk's put me off my food anyway, Mr. Sholmes. A new bit of evidence is exactly what I need. Wow, a secret hiding place under the floor. What a find. It's not a hiding place you could make use of in Japan. I don't think I could lift a straw to Tommy Mat. No, I know, but I never expected one of these wooden floorboards to move either. How about the wall over there, too? Aren't you curious? There's nothing behind the picture, sadly. Only the wall. There's a board over on the crack of the wall. There you are. Print for you. Okay, there. His invention can make prints, too. Time to see if we can find anything out there. And desperate to know. We will examine Gregson and then call it an episode. Allow me to ask Gregson now. After all, we're well acquainted. It's been too long. Why is it, Shamspeare? I thought perhaps you might show me what you found there, seeing as we're such good friends. We're not friends. No, I suppose not. A dismal failure. Yes, I heard. I'd kill to know what was under that floorboard. Alright then. Fair's fair. What? You did discover the hiding place after all. I suppose I should at least fill you in. Really, Inspector? Thank you. Do it quickly, my dear fellow. If there's one thing I know about this man, it's that he blows with the wind, as fickle as the weather. Alright, stop making me out to be some kind of nut. There were 3 items under the floor there. A newspaper clipping, a photographic print, and a tin box. Now what do you want to know? Alrighty. We will do this next time.